Greetings everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm your host Captain Rye, and today's World of Warships video is a subscriber submitted replay from a subscriber that you've actually seen before. That's right, this is the Stranger and his Benson. The very same The Stranger in the very same Benson that he used to save my ass from eating a bunch of torpedoes by pulling an absolutely insane maneuver. This time, he's back in his Benson on the estuary map in domination match mode to pull off an absolutely amazing game. Now, personally, I don't like the Benson, but a lot of people do. It's a very good Tier 8 destroyer. Some people argue that it's the best Tier 8 destroyer, but until Wargaming replaces the Fubuki, in my opinion, the Fubuki will always be the Tier 8 destroyer. Stranger has got his Benson with a 15-point commander, because as you can see, he's got a detectability range of 5.8 kilometers. Of course, in this battle, that's not going to come into play nearly as much as it probably would if it was me playing. However, it isn't me playing. And the match is still probably one of the best ones I've seen, with an ending that will keep you on the edge of your seat right up until the timer runs out. Stranger is heading straight towards the B cap point right off the bat, as his entire team has shifted over to A, leaving the enemy team to capture D. And so they've captured D, they're capturing A, and that's going to give them an early points advantage. As Stranger comes around the island, there is an enemy Atago currently sitting in B. And Stranger here, he's gonna get a little gutsy. He's basically got himself into detection range of an Atago. And he's going to beach himself. Now the Atago's firing armor piercing and manages to completely miss. Stranger's popped his smoke, but this Atago is danger close. If he's got hydro, he should pop it and be able to see. In spite of this Atago knowing that there is a destroyer here, he continues to sail in a nice straight line right in to Stranger's torpedoes. Wow. But first blood is denied as his team loses a friendly destroyer right before he snags the kill on that Atago. Enemy Fubuki has popped up at point blank range. He's sitting in the smokescreen directly in front of Stranger's at less than 2 kilometers, and he's not even paying attention to the fact that this Benson is right here. Stranger manages to finish off the Fubuki in very short order, which is really quite an impressive feat, and quite lucky that both the Atago and that Fubuki decided not to pay attention to the destroyer that was less than 5 kilometers away. Taking up on the advantage that this has afforded him, he's going to go ahead and capture the B cap point. The enemy team and his team are still fighting over A, but you'll remember that the enemy, who took D uncontested, now has a straight shot at C, and they are headed that direction. His team has lost more ships, and combine that with the fact that they have only had 1 cap point to the enemy's 2, they are down on points, and that points differential is going to add up, and add up big time. There's going to be a certain point shortly in this match where I'm almost positive that this was going to be a crushing loss in spite of such a great start for our hero. Enemy Scharnhorst is pushing up and has basically pushed Stranger out of the cap zone. Stranger doesn't have his smoke up. It doesn't look like he's using the premium smoke consumable, which is unfortunate. He's also not using the premium speed boost consumable, so he's going to have to try really hard just to continue motoring in order to get out of range of detectability for that Scharnhorst, who does have insanely long-range secondaries. His torpedoes manage to miss as that Scharnhorst straightens out and speeds up. Other friendly ship who fired torpedoes at him also manages to miss his torpedoes. So that Scharnhorst is incredibly lucky. Their team did manage to cap B, but because the Scharnhorst was already pushing up basically the moment they capped it, that guy was already recapping it. It doesn't look like Stranger has last stand on the Benson. We're going to see this quite a bit. He's going to take a few more shots that are going to disable key modules like his engine and his steering. Why he doesn't repair it, I don't know. But the fact that his steering is knocked out, the fact that his engine's knocked out, and the fact that he immediately slows down and is no longer able to turn tells me he absolutely does not have last stand. And this is where I would probably have played it a little bit differently and definitely used my repair. Being caught out in the open like this, even though I'm no longer detected, not something I want to do. There's still an enemy destroyer, there's still 2 enemy destroyers, and you never know where those guys can be. He did manage to take shots in at that Scharnhorst while he was capping B and set him on fire, and the Scharnhorst took his sweet time putting that fire out. And as soon as that fire's out, he manages to land another shot on the stern of the ship and sets him on fire again, so he's just going to continue to rack up the damage. But you'll notice, even though that Scharnhorst is being hit, the B cap is no longer resetting nearly as much as it used to. That should be a huge indicator that there is obviously one of the 2 remaining destroyers in that location. In fact, that destroyer just popped his smokescreen to hide a friendly battleship. Now that is some dedicated teamwork, and one I wish I really saw a lot more often, especially when I was in my Scharnhorst. However, enemy Scharnhorst doesn't seem to be particularly interested in staying in the smokescreen and utilizing it to its advantages. Instead, he's decided to push out. Stranger has got torpedoes away at him, but that Scharnhorst is going to start turning, and he's basically going to dodge all of those. That is one of the bigger complaints that I have with the Benson. It's the pinnacle of the American gunboat destroyers, at least until you get to the gearing. Because it has those slower 9.5 kilometer torpedoes, it does get really difficult to hit anything at any kind of range. Our hero has pushed in well into detectability range of this Scharnhorst, who apparently has manual secondaries and is focusing down the friendly cruiser or battleship that's back over there, rather than focusing down Stranger, which is not something I would do. If I was in the Scharnhorst, I would be focusing my manual secondaries on the destroyer. But the Scharnhorst gets taken out, he's out of the action. There's the enemy Leningrad, who manages to miss all of his shots, and Stranger takes him out of the game. You might notice there in chat, there's one team member who is furiously demanding that people play according to his plan. He's telling Stranger to go cap B, then go cap this, then do this, and wondering what he's doing. Don't you worry your little head. Stranger knows what he's doing. Like me and my Fletcher, you just leave us to do our own thing and we'll probably pull a win out of it. Stranger pops his smoke screen while he's trying to cap B. The enemy team is capping A, which means they're going to continue being up on points. They've had almost 3 cap points now for quite some time, and while the teams are still relatively close together in number of ships, that points difference is a massive, massive killer. As they say, capping wins games. Now he fires off torpedoes at this Bismarck, who looked like he wanted to reverse. He was stopping or stopped there for a second. But the problem with the Bismarck, or indeed any of those higher tier German battleships from the Scharnhorst and the Gneisenau up, is that once they start moving forward, they can really start moving forward pretty fast. And so, with those slower torpedoes, he's going to miss all of them. But he's almost got his second set up, and he's been shelling him. He's managed to light that Bismarck on fire, and he gets off another set. This is yet another prime example of a player on the enemy team completely ignoring the destroyer. The Bismarck's popped his hydroacoustic consumable. He's close enough. He can see our hero in the smokescreen, and his secondaries are blazing away. He doesn't apparently have manual secondaries. He should be able to see those torpedoes coming straight at him, but he's not even bothering to maneuver at all. And it's going to cost him dearly. Stranger has managed to finally capture the B cap point. So he is looking for his next target or his next course of action. And in the chat, his team is telling him, or I should say specifically one person on his team is telling him to go cap D. And that sounds like a pretty reasonable option. Unfortunately, as he gets underway, leaves his smokescreen, a surprise York pops up just around this corner. This could go very, very badly. There's some torpedoes right there. He manages to torpedo beats, and he manages to citadel this York, who is at point-blank range to a Benson. But the question is, can our hero survive this engagement? That York has got him almost dead to rights at this point. He manages to light him on fire. That York is continuing to sail in a nice straight line, and holy crap! He hits him for 2 torpedoes, and he finishes him off. There's his high caliber and his Kraken. And Stranger manages to survive the engagement with less than 400 health. Wow. Holy shit. That was not what I was expecting to see. That's impressive. And he's done well over 130,000 damage in this battle, with 5 kills. And now he's gonna go cap D. His team has managed to pull back the scores just a little bit, but they have to cap. They have to cap, or they're not going to win this battle. There's no way that they can do it. But they managed to keep themselves in the game by taking out that Cleveland, and there is a pretty close to dead Fuso over there, and if they can take out that Fuso, they can definitely keep themselves in the game and stay in long enough to capture the other points and win. But the time is running out, and they do need to hurry. They managed to kill that Fuso, and our hero is going to cap D, which means he's going to head to C next. C is the next closest cap point, and the logical decision. There's only one enemy ship left, and it is a sneaky destroyer who could be anywhere. Right now, the way it sits, all that destroyer has to do is survive. He doesn't have to kill anything. He doesn't have to cap anything. He just needs to survive. His team is up on points. His team is not only up on points, but as the timer's running out, they're going to continue getting closer to that 1,000 mark. assuming that destroyer doesn't screw up, and assuming the friendly team doesn't manage to cap in time. Stranger is moving to the C cap point. The destroyer has still not been spotted. The battleships are still up at B. And that's a decent decision. They really do need to defend B. Because if I was the destroyer on the enemy team, I'd probably be looking to either capture or kill at B. However, I would also be wary and on the lookout for this destroyer. I'd be asking my team, how much HP does he have left? So while our hero caps C, then go back to what I was saying about the Benson. The Benson is the pinnacle of the US destroyer gunboat line that pretty much you've learned all the way up to this point. Where it differs and why the Fletcher isn't that mark, or the Gearing, although the Gearing is the top tier, the Fletcher has the advantage of having the faster 10.5 kilometer torpedoes. And because of that fast reload and fast torpedo speed, in my opinion, you can play the Fletcher more as a combination torpedo boat than gunboat, rather than the other way around like you do with the Benson and down, where you're a gunboat first and a torpedo boat second. Stranger's wiggling his ship there, trying to bleed off just enough speed to stay in the cap while not having to stop. He manages to cap another base. At this point, he's up 3 full base caps and a base cap assist with high caliber and Kraken Unleashed, and over 130,000 damage done. Now, the question is, can he and his team step on the A cap point quickly enough to get that last little bit of points difference closed in time to win this game? It's gonna come down to it. It really is. There's not a lot of time left. And while they have 3 cap points and they're gaining a lot, they can't afford to lose a single ship. Look at how many points the enemy team has. That's right. If that destroyer manages to sink just 1 battleship, they win the game automatically, no questions asked. But our hero steps on the A cap, and now the enemy team is not gaining any more points. This is the dilemma for that destroyer. That destroyer's got to make a choice. He can either risk it, try and kill one of the battleships, try and cap something, or he can sit back and hope the clock runs out before the enemy team hits that points value. And it's incredibly tight. It's incredibly close. Of course, he could also try and find this destroyer. He could also try and find our hero, who is a one-shot kill. That's it. But Stranger manages to capture the A cap point for his 4th full base capture, just in the nick of time as the clock is running down. Where is that destroyer? He could be anywhere, but nobody has seen him. Nobody's detected, which means he's behind an island. But that destroyer is going to reveal himself, probably in an effort to find and kill our hero, as our hero leaves the A cap point just in time for that destroyer to start capping it. Unfortunately, this match does not have post-battle result screens. I wish it did. As you can see there, the points coming down to it. Very close, very close. Yes, they managed to win it by 2 points at the last possible second. That is the closest victory I've seen in a long, long time. And like I said, unfortunately, this battle did not have post-battle result screen. He didn't take the screenshots for that, so we don't get to see where his score sits. But I'd be willing to guess, based on 4 full base caps, an assist, 5 kills, and 137,000 damage done, or 130,000 plus damage done, that he earned easily up in the 3,000 base XP range. Anyway, folks, that's it for today's video. If you liked the video, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below and let me know what you thought. If you'd like to send me a replay for a compilation video or a standalone like this one, you can do so by sending it to my email, which is located in the description down below. And if you'd like to get semi-regular channel news and updates, such as my trip to the USS Midway, at live as is happening, you can do so by liking and following me on Facebook. If you'd like to help support me and my channel, you can do so by visiting my Patreon. You can find the links for all of those in the descriptions down below. And as always, I'll see you next time. This is Captain Rye, saying Happy Halloween, signing off.